She was Bolivia's president for almost a year, but now the family of Jeanine Anez says she's struggling in prison. Anez has been under preventive detention for 5 months. On Saturday, she had to be rushed to a hospital after an attempt to take her own life. Anez's son, José Armando Ribera, has been spending most of his days outside the Miraflores prison, where she's currently being detained. He says he's concerned about his mother's health.
She is very depressed and sad to see us suffering. She says the judiciary here is being handled by the current administration, and that's why she is so sad. All of the abuses that are happening is what has caused her to collapse.
Days of chaos and violence took over the streets of Bolivia in 2019, when President Evo Morales was asked to resign by the armed forces after a controversial re-election bid. Anez was sworn in as president, but Morales supporters took to the streets to demand his return. At least 20 people were killed in confrontations with security forces. Prosecutors blame Anez for authorizing the armed forces to fire against the unarmed protesters and accused her of genocide.
The prosecutor's office presented an accusation at the Supreme Court of Justice against the citizen Jeanine Anez Chavez for the events that are now being provisionally referred to as genocide, with serious and mild injuries, and injuries followed by death.
Anez is now stable, but according to UN representatives in the country, she's physically weakened and deeply emotionally affected. Members of the opposition are calling for her release and say she's a victim of political persecution by the administration of Luis Arce, who belongs to Evo Morales' mass party. Human rights groups claim Jeanine Anez may not stand a chance to a fair trial.
Bolivia has a fundamental chronic problem. It's the lack of independence of the judiciary. It's a situation that's very complicated because it makes it very difficult to have independent and impartial investigations over human rights abuses. Bolivia has had a period of social instability, and serious abuses were committed, including during the government of Jeanine Anez.
The relatives of those killed during the protest in 2019 are desperately hoping for justice. But human rights groups claim there needs to be a due process and that the judiciary should not be used as a tool for revenge. Teresa, Aljazeera.